Okay, so first one, example number one, use the properties of logs to condense, make smaller. Okay, so condense means we're going to go left to right. So we're going to go from this side over to this one. Which ones are we going to use? Whichever ones we need to. So let's look at 1A. I have plus. Plus means product rule. So I'm going to use product rule. Sometime in this problem, I'm going to use product rule. I also have a z in front. That's power rule. Okay? So the first thing I need to do is put the z back. The z is in front. That came from up here. That's what the product rule or the power rule says. That came from there. Okay? So let me rewrite this. Log of b plus log of d to the z power. So the first thing is I put the power back. Okay? Well, I have two logs. I have a log over here and a log over here. I want to condense them to make one log. Well, it has a plus in the middle. Product property says I can combine them using multiplication. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? So instead of two logs, I have one log. And I'm going to combine b and d to the z power using multiplication. Done. Okay. It's condensed. I started with multiple logs and I ended up with one log. That's condensed, make smaller. Okay. B now, B. Well, I have subtraction and I also have a number, something in front. This guy came from up here because that's what the power property says. The power property says if I have anything in front of a log, it came from the power. So I'm going to move that power back. So log of k to the fifth minus log of q. I have minus. Quotient rule says you can combine those two by using division. So that's what I'm going to do. I only need a single log. I'm going to have division now. What am I going to divide? On top, it's going to be k to the fifth because that came first. On bottom, it's q. I can't divide them because they're both different letters. So you're done. That's how we condense. That's how we make things smaller. Okay? Number two is the opposite. They're already condensed. Expand them. We're going to use the same properties. Okay. So now we're not starting on the left side. We're starting on the right side. So you're going to see multiplication. You're going to see division. You're going to see powers, right? 2a, I see multiplication. 5 times a, or 5 times x to the fourth. And I see a power. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the product property to expand them. So instead of one log, I'm going to give them two. So log of 5 plus log of x to the fourth. Because those are the two things that were being multiplied. If there were three things, let's say there was y out here, then I would have a third log plus log y. But there's only two. Okay? Last thing. We said the power, right? The power only goes with x. So I'm only going to move the power in front of this log. I don't have to do it in front of both because 5 didn't have a power. Done. Letter B. Well, I got division, and I have powers. So when you're expanding, always start with either product or quotient. Finish with powers. When you're condensing, you're going to go down. When you're expanding, you're going to go up. So the first thing I'm going to do is split them up. So right now they're here. Split them up using subtraction. Okay. I use subtraction because there was division. Division and subtraction go together. Last thing, powers. They each have a power, so they go in the front. Okay. Letter C. What's different about letter C that A and B didn't have? Square root has a root. And there's three terms, right? There's three guys. I have a Y, an X, and a Z. Okay? Well, we're expanding. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split them up using division. Okay? So that means I'm going to give them each a log and put a subtraction in the middle. So I have a log of the top minus a log of the bottom. Okay? Still have multiplication here. So I need to break those up. So the first guy is good for right now. But this guy I have to break up using multiplication, changing multiplication to addition. And they were together on the bottom, so I'm going to put parentheses around them. They were together on the bottom. So that's why I put parentheses around them. Okay? Last thing is powers. I know this guy, Z, has a power of 3, right? I know X has a power of 5. What about Y? What power does Y have? So I'm going to do a little side thing. If I wanted to get rid of the root, what power would I have to give Y? No, you're close. What power would I have to give Y if I wanted to get rid of the root? 3 over 2. 3 over 2. Because 3, it's got the power, and then 2, you guys are saying 2. That's right, but it goes on the bottom. So this is the same as 3 over 2. Okay. So that means the power is going to come in the front, 3 over 2. Power comes in the front. Power comes in the front. Done. That's expanded. Right? We started with this, very compact. We finished with that. Okay. All right. Phones, let's put the phones away, turn them over. We don't need phones today. Okay, so I have log and log. They want a single log, so that's another way of saying condense. I have to condense these guys. The only difference between these guys and the last one is that you have more numbers than letters. This side, the left side, we had more letters than numbers. It's the opposite over here. It's the same thing though. Okay, I got powers, or a power, I'm going to put back there. So I have log with a base of b, 2 to the third power, plus means multiplication. So I'm going to multiply the logs. 2 to the third times 10. Well, those are numbers. 2 to the third is 2 times 2, which is 4, times another 2, which is 8. 8 times 10 is 80. Done. Okay. Excellent. Well, this one's got a power. Put it back. Okay. It's got a subtraction. Subtraction, we're going to use the quotient rule, use division. Eight divided by 2 squared. Well, 2 squared is 4. 8 divided by 4, 2. Done. Okay. Same thing, just using numbers. These we had more numbers, so we could multiply them, divide them, all that good stuff. Okay. 4, the last one, 4. 4 is the same as the ones. The only difference is you have this log of A equals, log of B equals, log of C equals. Don't worry about that right now. Don't worry about that right now. I'm going to cross it out. Don't cross it out on yours because you will need it. I'm not worried about this right now. What I'm worried about is expanding this guy. So I need to figure out which properties I'm going to use. Well, first of all, let me start with, it's got a big division. So that means quotient. So I have log of c to the 6 minus log of square root a to the 5th times b. No more division. Okay. But I have multiplication still in here, right? Well, before I do anything, let me give them some powers. Let me give them powers without roots. What power does A have? 5 over 2. What power does B have? 1 over 2. No more root. But I still have multiplication. So I'm going to use the product property to break those guys up. Okay? So this guy is going to stay. A is going to get a log. B is going to get a log. And I use addition because it was multiplication before. So now there's no division. There's no multiplication. All I got left is powers. Now, last thing to use power. Move those powers to the front. Move each of those powers to the front of their log. Six times log of C. 5/2 times log of A. 1/2 times log of B. That's where I'd stopped earlier. This is where we come into those things I crossed out earlier. Each one of those represents a number. So every time, now that we've simplified it, every time I see a log of A, I'm going to write a -4 in its place. Okay, so do I see a log of A? I do. Right here. So instead of log of A, I'm going to 2 times -4. Oops, forgot parentheses. Everywhere I see log of B, I'm going to change it to -10. So instead of times log of B, it's going to be times -10. And then everywhere I see log of C, it's going to change to +2. Now I have no more logs. All I got to do is multiply. PEMDAS now. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division. So I'm going to put these guys, since I'm multiplying by fractions, I'm going to put them over 1. 5 times -4 is -20. Divided by 2 is -10. One times -10 is -10. Divided by 2 is -5. And this guy is just 12. 6 times 2 is 12. Still have parentheses, so I got to now add -10 plus -5, which makes -15. So I have 12 minus -15. Double negatives, change them to addition. +27. +27. So the only difference between that one and the ones we did earlier was the last part where we just had to change them. Anytime I see log of A, -4. Anytime I see log of B, -10. Anytime I see log of C, put in a 2. That was the only difference. Okay? All right, so I'm going to give you one more problem to do on page 40, and we'll be done for today. One more problem to do on page 40, and we'll be done. So you can tape in right now or tape in later. Okay. All right, here we go. Number 5. Number 5. Simplify to a single log. So your answer should go in there. Log of B blank. You start with 2 logs, the word log twice, and you want to get 1 log. That's condensing. It's got a minus in the middle. It also has a 4 in the front. So power, put the power back. Still has a minus, so that means division. 3 to the 4th over 3. Well, 3 to the 4th is 81 divided by 3, 27. Or you could just say 3 to the 4th over 3 to the 1. You could just subtract the powers and you get 3 to the 3rd, which is still 27. Okay. All right, tape that in page 40, and tomorrow we'll do some more practice.